are some of the details. Okay, some of the details. And the reason I say details is because um, so far we've really just kind of covered the the overview, right? Um, the overview. Now, it's time to focus in on the details. Okay. And it'll be these details that will take you to the next level. Now, I'm not going to go as detailed as mastering the triangle defense series. Okay. Now those are some real details. Okay. Some real details. Like if I come over here back to the dashboard and look at this, this is the series you go to watch to learn the details. Like this is just this will be more detailed for our series, but this is where you go to learn the details of the triangle defense. I can't go into it on that level in this boot camp. But if you're trying to build, excuse me, build upon what we talked about so far in this series, that is where you're gonna want to go to really get that down. So mastering the triangle defense, uh, 216 is the number. And you'll see we went for weeks and weeks and weeks. It truly is a big boy course, right? Big boy, right? So I think this went for 2 or 3 months. Okay. Definitely 2 months, possibly 3 months, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. That's one right there. Yeah. So about it, almost 3 months on that. And so, that is it. Okay. That's the mastery. Now, don't feel like you have to master the triangle to be effective, but you do need to pay attention to some details. Okay. And the details do matter and they will help. Okay. Now, if you remember, we talked about the triangle being a way to understand what is happening with the trend, okay? And to take price and put it in a trap, okay? And so remember, the market has already only two options because it can't go left. It can never turn around and go that way. So eventually, what it's going to do after it's made its higher highs and higher lows, it's going to run into a wall. And with the triangle, we're here to detect when we run into that wall, when it's time for us to change directions. Okay. Now, changing directions is really what ORS specializes in. ORS, keyword reversal, optimal reversal system. ORS is all about the reversal. All right. It's all about the reversal. Understanding when the market is reversing. When I say reversal, I don't mean completely changing a direction, meaning like it's been overall buying and now it's going to go overall selling. No, it could also be overall buying and it's been temporarily selling like this. And now it's gonna go on the buy. It could be temporary selling like this, and now it's gonna go on the buy. Okay. This is also reversing. We reversed here, right? Or it's been overall buying and it's gonna temporarily go on a sell, meaning you're gonna look to take the temporary sell, right? Take the correction or take the pullback, right? These are all options. The idea is that ORS helps us understand when the market is changing directions, whether that be long term or short term. Okay. And this is important for us to understand. And the triangle defense, when I tell you guys it shows up to work every time, this is what I mean, right? I love all of the different reversal patterns, the M's, the W's, the inverted head and shoulders, right? The head and shoulders, the you know, the different the way your price action where your high is will be touching the 50 MA, right? It'll touch it, go close past it, right? Um, it needs to be hitting the 50. And so out of all of these different options here, only a couple of them are actually hitting the 50. Which ones are hitting the 50? This one and this one. Okay. So here we go. Not only are we looking for the lowest high to make the lowest low, we're looking for the lowest high that also hit the 50 to make the lowest low. See how we just added in a different detail? So now out of these two, which one was the lowest high that also hit the 50? And now we could see that actually this is higher than this. So this is the lowest high that created the lowest low. And it hit the 50. Notice how these did not hit the 50, right? They're hitting the 20. When you're on the correct time frame, the structure that is hitting the 50 is going to be the um the structure that you need to break. The structure that's hitting the 20 is going to be what we call our fractal structure. Our fractal structure. And we're going to deal with that fractal structure a little bit more on Thursday. But today, I want you to see this, how we're hitting the 50 on these highs, but on these, we're actually not. Do you see how, do you see how bringing in somebody that is objective and not subjective now clears this up? Like, this is my whole point. The ORS system is an objective mechanical system. Okay. It's objective, it's mechanical. The subjectivity gets limited by bringing in these other outside auditors, right? They come in and they say, oh yeah, no, those highs don't matter because they're touching the 20, not the 50. It's these highs that we need to pay attention to. These are fractal structures. Also dealing with price action, breaking of these highs are more relevant than just breaking these. It's very important to understand it. I'm not going to dig deeper into this right now, but just know even in your paying attention to structure and how you figure things out, these are fractal highs, right? These are going to be stronger levels, these levels that are coming off of the 50. Okay. So as price action continues in the future, right, breaking a structure like this is way more valuable than breaking these other structures. So if we can get up above that, then it's a different ball game, right? And you can see how responsive the market was to that high here, right? Than to these other highs, right? The market pulled back a little, but you know, this definitely was a big wall that you wouldn't have wanted to run into without knowing it. And so our 50 really guides us to where those big walls are at, okay, structurally. We're gonna leave it alone for now, but you can see it, right? Those of you guys that are in a place to leverage that information and go back test and stuff, you guys go ahead. Okay. Now, that is important to understand the relationship of the impetus level to the 50 moving average. Okay. The relationship to the impetus to the 50 moving average. Okay. Very important. What's up, Kyle in the building? Shar's in the building, representing Cali, Kyle, Ontario. Okay. The indicator that we're talking about are our moving averages from the beginning of this series, right? When we talked about that. And here is here they are right here. Just hit add to favorites if you don't have them on your chart. Add to favorites. Okay. Now, the let's do this on a downtrend real quick, and then we'll go looking for messy ones, nice and messy. Okay, this one's good. No, that's the uptrend. Do, 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 do. Okay, this one's fine. All right, so here we are. Okay, let's identify the beginning and the end. Here we go. We got our information. We're going to take our Fibonacci and we're going to go from left again to right. Okay, left to right. And here's the thing that you're going to understand about the impetus level of a 5-wave structure and the impetus level of a 3-wave structure. Once you go through all the steps and you identify your impetus level, the impetus level of a 3-wave will have the impetus sitting below the 50% when you draw your Fibonacci. So this impetus level is sitting right around the 23.6. That meets the qualifications of a impetus level of a impulse, which means that if I was to take a trade from this, I would be looking for a trade where my destination is in between here and here. Remember, within the limitations, within the boundaries, okay? We're not looking to aim outside of the boundaries. We're looking to aim within the boundaries. Now, there is a context to when you could get a 5-wave and it goes outside of the limitations, but that's more of an advanced concept that we'll talk about more. This will get you to the promised land well over it's the majority of the time, right? More than enough. Now, before I forget, remember we had 2 trend line options. And the question is, we'll hide this for a second. The question is, which one of these trend lines is the one? Well, the way you're going to know is your impetus level that you've decided on should be in the proximity of touching your, should be within proximity of touching your trend line. And we can see here that this trend line, right, is not even close to touching the impetus. Okay, that's not going to work. So we know out of the 2 ways that we said was okay to draw this is not the way. Okay, that's not the way because that would mean our impetus level would not be touching or in proximity of touching the trend line. Okay, the trend line. So that's how you know. The other thing is if we bring that back, your trend line is going to be more parallel with your 50, okay? Parallel with your 50. And we can see here that that other trend line is definitely not running parallel. So those are the two things, okay? Those are the two things. So out of these trend lines, which one is the correct one? The one that fits all the rules, okay? All the rules. So it's going to be this guy, okay? Now, as we said, we're going to use our Fibonacci again to determine is this an impulse or a corrective structure. And we can see because this impetus is so low that for this is going to be a impulsive structure, which means that I would look for destinations that are in between, right? In between these levels. Now, I told you that there's a greater context and another reason why, but we'll get into this later. But for now, right, first level would say, let's target, let's make our take profit if we're going to take this structures that are inside that high and that low. So this would be a great target based on the price action. And for sure, this would be a great targets that are outside. Okay. We're looking for targets that are outside. I'll finish it with an example here so that we could see. And this is actually cool because this is nice and messy. Nice and messy. So here we go. We're gonna go. I'm just gonna draw our trend line. Okay, I'm connecting two dots. I can't connect these because that's gonna cut things off, right? So I'm gonna actually connect these. And then I'm gonna bring in, we're gonna identify the beginning and the end, right? Beginning and end. And now we're gonna figure out too many crosses. We got cross up, way too many crosses. Let's pull this up even further. What do we got now? Cross up, cross up, cross up, too many crosses. Cross up, cross up, cross up, too many crosses. Moving on up. All right, here we go. Cross up, one cross. We got it. Now, which one is the impetus? Which one is the impetus? Well, let's go through all of the things that we talked about today, right? Let's go ahead and just clean this up real quick. Keep it nice and simple. How do I draw my trend line? Which way? I can do this. I can do this, right? Got two different options, but that one cuts off things, so that wouldn't work. I could do this and nothing's cut off, okay? That could work too. So we got two different options here. Which one is the right one? All right, which one's the right one? Okay. Now, let's identify all of our lows, right? All of our lows. Here's our low, a low, 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 right? Here we go. Here's all our lows. Now, what we have here are different ones that could potentially be our impetus. Now, let's ask ourselves, what's the most recent high? Boom. Okay. What is the previous high? Hmm. Now, now this is interesting. Which one is it? Is it here or here? Well, let's go through both scenarios. Let's say it's here. If it's here, right? What was the lowest point that we had? Right here. Okay. If it's here, what was the lowest point? It still would be here. So in both of these cases, it still would be here. So now let's see. Does this hit the 50? It does. What about here? Does this hit the 50? It does. Well past the 50. Okay. So both of these hit the 50. This one right now looks like it's the high that made the highest high. This could be a very possibility, right? Everything so far. We're going to bring in our final checkpoint. And here it is. Now, which one is the impetus? Now, this is where understanding what you're trapping matters. Okay. And we're going to have to get into some more details. And we will, right? We will as we go. I'm gonna hit this real quick and we'll talk about it. We have either something that looks like this or something that looks like something like this, right? Something like that. So what is going to be right? Well, context matters, okay? Now, let's look at something. Now, new detail that we haven't talked about and we'll hit on it more. When you have a corrective or an impulsive structure, an impulsive structure will have what we call divergence. Divergence. And so on those highs that we identified, this one and this one, those last two, we should see that the final high has less volume than previous highs, meaning that we should not be seeing this incline that we see. We could actually see this is going up to higher values. So this tells us that this is not currently an impulsive structure. So what does that then lead us to think? Well, because we don't have divergence, okay, this is not an impulsive structure, which is also telling us that because it's not an impulsive structure, what were the rules? The impetus level needs to be 61.8 or below. Now, is this 61.8? Not quite. It's a little bit above the 61.8. This one for sure is making this our impetus level. But you're like, wait, what? Wait, how we make that the impetus level? Well, it is now. It is because what we're looking at here is again, we're looking at all of the rules in context. Okay. And the one that meets all of the rules is this one. Okay. And this is how you know. This is your true impetus level right here, even though that one has the appearance of being it. Okay. This is an advanced, it takes an advanced triangle defense trader to understand but it's not something that you guys can't do. You just have to keep all of the rules in your mind. And this is the rule that usually knocks people out. They forget about it because they're not paying attention to all of the rules. But these are going to guide you. Okay. So really, this is our structure break level, not this. Okay. When we put it all together. Okay. When you put it all together, it's this level right here. Okay. This level right here. And so there we go. Now, I've had a great time with you guys. See how that didn't break? Had a great time with you guys today. We're gonna pick this up further, right? Next on Thursday. Okay, we're gonna continue with this.